Hello. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to do a pick a card. I see these all the time and I think that would be so fun because I have maybe 2 people in my life I can read for. And one of them I don't even read. I let them figure out what the meanings are because they're pretty accurate and pretty off the wall. So other than that, yeah, I don't really have anyone to read for. So I figured this would be fun because I keep accumulating decks and I need some way to justify it. And reading for myself all the time gets kind of, well, redundant. So I have the Light Seers, Everyday Witch, and I can show you the box more when we get to that one. I just made this and attempted to make it. The Marchetti Tarot and the Radiant Rider-Waite. And then I also kind of watercolor these little doors in a hurry. So there'll be timestamps down below for whichever one you pick, and I'll see you then. Okay, so if you picked the Light Seers Tarot and this little door, what we're going to do, I was looking up some spreads on Pinterest and I found this Stuck in a Rut from happyasanna.com. So I'll give a shout out and I'll have that link down below. So we're going to do that instead of a just spread where I lay cards out. So I even made cards for the spreads. I'm going to set this over here and lay these out. Yeah, excuse the the backdrop here. I have a couple of nice cloths. I have no idea where they're at. And this is actually my art table, and I've got marble contact paper, which looks pretty good on the bottom, but it's all tore up from art. So, okay. So I've laid out what each part of the spread is for. Just gonna shuffle the cards a little bit. Stuck in a rut. Hopefully this answers some of your questions and gives you some advice like it did for me yesterday. And I'm going to move these up just a little bit because I like to spread all the cards out. Hopefully I can do it on this cloth and just kind of I don't know, feel which ones I want. Okay. So what is causing this rut? Why do I feel so stuck? What can I release to help me get unstuck? What can I embrace to help me out of this rut? What is this rut trying to teach me? And how can I avoid getting stuck in the future? Okay. Sorry if the camera's shaky. I've got my earphones plugged in. Now, like I mentioned, I only read for maybe 2 people. So this is just super fun for me to really get a chance to just read in general. I've been doing tarot for a while, but just for myself. And I never get a read for anybody. Okay. So I'll put these this side so we can see them. Three hours later. So what is causing this rut? And we've got the Knight of Wands. Why do I feel so stuck? Ten of Wands. What can I release to help me get unstuck? The Star. What can I embrace to help me out of this rut? Eight of Cups. What is this rut trying to teach me? Four of Swords. How can I avoid getting stuck again in the future? The Hermit. Okay, so we've got kind of a small array of suits, some wands, swords, cups, and two majors. And so sorry, that glare is going to be permanent. So what is causing this rut? So we can see the Knight of Wands. So especially in this deck, so there's just some type of, not necessarily a bad, unfocused energy. Usually the knight is on their horse, they're ready to get into action. And in this one, she's kind of going off the path to jam out. So, there could have been a sense of responsibility right here, and because of the charismatic nature of the Knight of Wands, she's kind of off doing something else, which is not such a bad thing. And I think everyone can relate to, you have things going on over here, but you just kind of want to let it all out and have a moment for yourself, and that's fine. But as far as what is causing this rut, that could be an issue of getting distracted, even though this is something you really enjoy. And this is your path right here anyway, something else you enjoy, but you're just kind of taking a moment. So maybe that moment is just a little too long, and that's actually something we can all relate to, I'm sure. So why do I feel so stuck? So in this one, I can just see, burden, pretty self-explanatory. Having too much on your back, maybe mentally and physically, especially right now, trying to stock up on stuff. Maybe you've got a little bit of help, but it's still quite a bit to carry, quite a bit of actual responsibility, and maybe that's why you're kind of wandering off from that right now, because there's just so much to worry about right now. We'll move on real quick to what can I release to help me get unstuck? So what I might get from this is maybe one of two things. The Star is just a beacon of light full of positivity, and so maybe either you're being too optimistic, and maybe you're just being too optimistic about what kind of time you have, and taking that moment saying, oh, maybe tomorrow, which is fine. And then something else I can get from this, what you need to release is just maybe some of the negativity with this. Sometimes our everyday things that we do one day can just be, oh, sure, I need to go to the store. Oh, sure, I need to do this. And then on another day, it's, oh, I just don't want to do that today. So that's kind of a double-sided feeling I get from this one. Just, realizing maybe that extra time you have is not actually extra time. Sometimes they say people who get done with something really quick most likely forgot something. And then also just being a little more negative about your everyday things. Now all of a sudden they're a burden when they were just mundane. So what can I embrace to help me out of this rut? So just kind of walking away from those things, maybe just for now. So, when you're in a rut, it's because, you want to pursue something you want to pursue, something that's going to benefit you, or you feel just stuck. And this is a great card for getting unstuck. Just whatever, maybe it's a guilty pleasure right now, or maybe it's Netflix, maybe. Whatever is taking up that time and that energy, and you just need to walk away from either that situation or that mental state. I would think maybe a lot of it is the mental state. Just kind of put yourself back into that mentality you were. Take this mentality and apply it to those things that you're convincing yourself is just too much right now. And what is this rut trying to teach me? So we've got the Four of Swords, and maybe just to take a breather right now. You know, take a moment to evaluate everything, and maybe even just learn to take moments for yourself. It's kind of what I'm getting from that. You know, she just looks relaxed and chill. The cares are just kind of put somewhere else right now. So that's what I'm getting from that one. And how can I avoid getting stuck again in the future? The Hermit. I love the Hermit card. Is this reading for me? So I think that kind of coincides with this one. How can you avoid getting stuck in the future? I guess just slow down, take a moment, get away from everything. You know, especially with this, the wands and the energy from the wands, you're just, you know, going from your main focus to another focus, and then probably back to your main focus, then another focus. And then just things going on one after another. So I guess for you personally, the best way to not get stuck in a rut in the future is to take a moment in between these situations and just kind of reflect on them a bit. You know, take a breather, take some time out to just focus on nothing, to get away, move away from all that stuff. Let yourself hear yourself think, so to speak. So that's kind of what I get from that. And I know this is probably not going to be a super long one. I've actually never gotten a chance to read with this deck, so this is great. And these are beautiful. So I did get an oracle, so I can pull maybe an advice card, and I'll have to read from the book because I actually never really cared for, or never thought I wanted an oracle deck, and I got one. I'm like, wow, this is great. And this is the Wisdom of the Oracle. So just to push on this further, let's get some advice or some understanding. So for this one, we got the Soulmates card. And what I gather from this, so for some, maybe this is a good time to get some help from your partner, from your family, a good time to maybe reach out more to people you haven't talked to in a while. That's such a pretty card too. You know, relationships are the key to success. So that could either be more of a romantic connection or just a family connection. Because I love the documentaries of penguins, how they kind of take turns sitting on the egg. And then, oh, that's so funny for the situation right now. So like, you know, one stays with the baby and the other one goes out, and when they hunt, it's kind of a life or death situation because of the seals. So they kind of all huddle together on the edge of a bank, and until one of them this is probably depressing, sorry, until one of them falls off. And if they don't get eaten, then it's a good place to hunt. So just thinking of that right now, that's so funny. So I don't know. I mean, maybe if your burden is getting supplies right now, find other resources, people, in your home, your family, your partner. Get some help with some of this so that you're able to kind of just take that time for yourself. Don't carry everything by yourself. There are other people that can help you, and they're willing to do so. Don't feel like you have to be the martyr, So, for now, I think that's it. If this resonated with you in any way, just let me know, and yeah, hopefully that brings some type of insight for you. Okay, and if you picked the Marchetti Tarot and the store, then this reading is for you. So let's see if we can't find some answers to these questions. Move these up here for now. Okay, so what is causing this rut? Why do I feel so stuck? Excuse me, or you? What can I release to help me get unstuck? What can I embrace to help me out of this rut? What is this rut trying to teach me? How can I avoid getting stuck in the future? Okay. So, what is causing this rut? We have the King of Coins. Why do I feel so stuck? Ten of Cups. What can I release to help me get unstuck? Ace of Coins. What can I embrace to help me out of this rut? The Knight of Swords. What is this rut trying to teach me? Nine of Coins. How can I avoid getting stuck again in the future? We have the Page of Cups. Okay. Cups and coins, and then one sword. Interesting. So, with what is causing this rut, the King of Coins, so the King of Pentacles is usually pretty well off. But I'm kind of getting more of a sense that you're in a rut because you're just very comfortable maybe just too comfortable. You have everything you need. You really don't feel like you need anything else, or you can't think of anything else that you need. That's kind of more what I'm getting from this one, as opposed to kind of reading this in a reverse sense or in its shadow form, is just complacent. Maybe just a little complacent with everything you have. You're just one of those people right now that, you're well prepared. Your health is all hopefully all right. I won't go into the health part, but as far as like the things around you, you just kind of don't know what you would actually need. Maybe want, sure, maybe you want some things, but as far as having everything you need right now, and maybe not even exactly physically, but mentally, just kind of complacent. So why do I feel so stuck? And we've got the 10 of Cups. So with this deck, this is supposed to be the apex of happiness. So that kind of, I don't know, that just kind of ties in with the complacency. And reading this for somebody else, trying to put myself in that place. This might just be in part with the complacency aspect. Like when people who feel comfortable and feel secure get kind of stuck. I mean, I find that inspiration, creation comes to people in a time of like sadness, kind of like a tower situation, when you could be doing just fine and something will happen, and that really makes you stop and reevaluate yourself. Well, this is not happening for you, which is not a bad thing. Everything seems to be going fine. Your family dynamic seems okay. Your surroundings seem okay. But it's just very complacent. Everything's just a-okay. All white picket fence, so to speak. I mean, perfection can only go so far, and that's perfection is perception. What can I release to help me get unstuck? So we've got the Ace of Coins, or the Ace of Pentacles. So as far as maybe this card for getting unstuck, I would say just kind of start accepting new opportunities. So kind of when we get complacent and we're faced with new opportunities, we're like, well, no, I don't want to do that because everything's fine here and this could be a risk. So I think to get unstuck is any new opportunity that's kind of come your way, maybe you should kind of embrace new things, especially as far as like career and finances, or assistance with finances. So that's what I can say for that for right now. What can I embrace to help me out of this rut? So we've got the Knight of Swords. So we kind of got that air of air kind of energy. So just kind of maybe going with the flow of things. Really looking into the mental aspect of everything. Maybe maybe instead of getting out of your head, getting into your head more. Going with the flow is kind of what I have with this a little bit more. Since this is more of a very intense air sign in a spot like this. And maybe not even just going with the flow, but actually taking that action towards something. So maybe other people are kind of saying, you have everything you need. There's no reason to pursue anything else. You shouldn't be doing that. So I think what you need to embrace is to just kind of take charge of your own situation, evaluate what you want to do, and don't let new things kind of scare you away or feel like new things are threatening your stability right now. Because, things are seemingly stable at the moment with these cards. So just kind of taking action on new situations or new opportunities for yourself would be a good thing to embrace right now. So what is this rut trying to teach me? And we've got the Nine of Coins. So going back on the stability right now, this rut, I guess, is a good reminder that, you know, you're in a good spot, a good place. You're independent, maybe more so than you think, that you're not helpless, that you have your everything kind of figured out, even if you don't feel like it. So it's kind of a good time to reflect on ourselves at the moment. You know, and you are kind of in a good spot to take on new opportunities right now. You know, this is right now is the best time, if ever, to make those decisions. And how can I avoid getting stuck again in the future? And we've got the Page of Cups. So we've got some of that creative energy, kind of starting out, looking at things in a new perspective. So how can I avoid getting stuck in the future? So that whole new perspective, for one, is to kind of look back to see the stability that you've already kind of built for yourself, and making certain changes or taking on different opportunities. You know, we can only get better, for one, and we could get worse. But, you know, sometimes those risks have their ups and downs. So you could start like from the bottom and then be here, go here, but then go way above, if that makes sense. That's kind of what I'm getting. This one's just not flowing so much for me. Maybe that's kind of what's going on, is some type of mental blockage. Maybe that's what this card's coming up with, is just the blockage is really putting you in this rut. You know, I mean, when you get kind of like that cookie cutter situation, it's really hard to build off of that sometimes. So I guess working on that mental block, I would, you know, suggest maybe doing some searching, get on Pinterest for, I'm not exactly sure what you're interested in or what your projects may be with this Page of Cups. I would assume something more creative, because at the moment, you're kind of in a little, you know, mundane, very grounded type of mindset. Maybe you need to get a little bit more into that artistic, creative mindset. I think you're just having a hard time getting there. So you've got your pentacles a little more grounded, and your swords is a little more mental. So this is very stagnant kind of, it's stable but stagnant kind of energy right now. So maybe especially the why do I feel so stuck is you're just kind of missing this aspect, this leap, you know. You're still kind of just chilling in the water, I think. So that's kind of what I get from that. I wish I could provide a little bit more, but I think it's pretty cut and dry. Just kind of like the situation, just cut and dry. We need to add a little more flair, a little more creativity to everything. You're doing good. Everything's all right. You're doing all right. We're just very stagnant right now, I think, which is fine, because you're being in a good situation. You know, you have the opportunity, if you want to kind of push out of it. And I think that's more for, you've got your mundane things going on right now. You're really focused on the everyday life right now. And I think to help you out of this rut, you just kind of don't feel so guilty about looking into new things, or kind of diving into some of your interests right now. Like, don't feel guilty about that. You know, right now is not a bad time to kind of pursue that. So let me pull an oracle to kind of get a little more advice or some insight, and see if there's anything else we could look into for you for this. Sorry if that's loud. Okay, so we kind of have a couple here. So we've got soulmates and by the book, which by the book, that really kind of seems like where we're at right now with this stagnant. And I shouldn't say stagnant. It's just very stable. It's just very, you know, set in your ways, comfortable, you know, like I said, cookie cutter. And then we have the soulmates. So I had that one earlier. So I think with the by the book, like everything's fine this way. Like stable's fine. This is fine. You don't really have to change anything. But if you feel like you're in a rut, you know, you could kind of just not go by the book. Or push energy towards something a little more creative, something that's going to get your mind kind of going, you know, something just different. You just need something different. I think that's why I'm even feeling a little bit lost for words, just kind of like bland. It is what it is. So let's kind of just take this energy and push it towards something a little more creative, something a little bit, just something that is not what you're used to. And then we've got our soulmates. So, you know, maybe kind of reach out to people around you and because I'm sure if you're a person like this, you probably do have a lot of people around you that are just very monotone. But I find that people like that also have that wild and crazy person that is just not anything close to their personality. But you have that friend because they kind of get you out of that part of yourself. So I would say, you know, or even in your family, reach out to that crazy uncle or that crazy cousin that you kind of avoid at the family get-togethers, but then when they do come and sit next to you, you sit there for hours and actually enjoy talking to them, and then when you go home, you're like, oh my gosh, that person is not related to me. So, and you know, if this isn't making any kind of sense to you, I mean, that's fine. Maybe this isn't for you, but if it is, let me know and maybe even elaborate on some of this. You know, I don't read for too many people. So if you see something that I'm not, let me know because I would really like to better myself on this. But that's kind of the energy I'm getting from this. I would just say, and I got this one early. I think they're all very similar. This is very different from the last two. So you're kind of in a little odd situation. Maybe you're one of those people that are doing pretty good right now, but just kind of bored. Just kind of bored. So I would just say kind of go try some different things right now. Kind of don't feel guilty about maybe looking into more creative aspects, start something new, really take action and dive into that. And also maybe kind of contact the people around you that are just a little bit off the wall or different. Reaching out to family right now is actually just, you know, maybe take a day to call everybody, you know, give yourself a distraction. So that is your reading. Hopefully that makes sense and gives you some insight, and thanks for watching. All right, and if you chose the Everyday Witch Tarot, then this reading is for you. In that door, I really like that one. This is the box I attempted to make. It didn't turn out too bad. Just kind of rough around the edges, literally. Gotta love Michael's scrapbooking paper. Okay. Let's see if we can find some of these answers for you. We had one fly out, so I'll set that there. Okay, so what is causing this rut? Why do I feel so stuck? What can I release to help me get unstuck? Yeah. What can I embrace to help me out of this rut? What is this rut trying to teach me? And how can I avoid getting stuck again in the future? Okay. So, what is causing this rut? The Eight of Wands. Why do I feel so stuck? The Magician. What can I release to help me get unstuck? Ten of Wands. What can I embrace to help me out of this rut? Nine of Wands. What is this rut trying to teach me? Five of Wands. How can I avoid getting stuck again in the future? Queen of Wands. Okay. And then our extra card that jumped out is King of Swords. I actually got that one yesterday too. And yesterday it really made sense when I did this spread. But I got it in a different spot. And this one also. So, what is causing this rut? So, I was thinking of a different card. Okay, so Eight of Wands. Just a storm movement. Things just kind of going around you too fast, and a lot of it right now is what I'm kind of getting from that one. Maybe you started something that kind of got away from you, or it's just a little bit overwhelming with her her face there holding on to her cat's kind of like, what are you doing? Why do I feel so stuck? So we've got the Magician. So what I can kind of get from that one is you're feeling stuck because you just don't have everything you need right now to finish or do or proceed. You feel like you're not being innovative or not being efficient with what you have, which would make you stuck. I mean, if you're in a car without gas, you're not going anywhere. So that's what I kind of get from this one. What can I release to help me get unstuck? So Ten of Wands. And this one looks way more burdening. She doesn't even have any help in this image. She's just got everything by herself. And these are not gender specific. So from this one, what can I release to help me get unstuck? Just taking everything on by yourself is always going to slow you down. I mean, she could sprint up that hill a lot faster if she didn't have all of this. These brooms are for other people, I would imagine. Those people could help, or she could ask in that situation instead of bearing everything on her own. She doesn't have to, hopefully. And if you're a person who you do have to, I'm sure she'll make it. For one thing, she could fly each of them up. So I guess if you're in a situation and you don't have the help, I guess just thinking about a different way of doing it, these are broomsticks and she's a witch. She could just fly them, I would think. That's what I get from that one. What can I embrace to help me out of this rut? So we've got the Nine of Wands. So you don't really see any assailants over here, but you do see her as if she's defending herself. I always kind of see perseverance with this. Well, I'm sure everybody sees perseverance. So just embracing the fact you need to keep going. She's doing all right for herself. Apparently all these assailants are disarmed at this point. So you got the upper hand right now. So I guess embrace that you really do have the upper hand. So maybe back to this one, you feel stuck because you feel like you're missing things. And maybe you're in a perfect world, you're missing everything. You want everything to be perfect, but really, the ball's in your court and you really have more than what you think. You're standing on a better stance than you thought you were. So that could be a good thing. What is this rut trying to teach me? So I would so what I get from this one, and you got all these people, all these cats, things are just kind of boiling over. I just kind of see someone stirring the pot. So if you're that type of person and you're stuck inside with your family right now or still having to go to work, this is a good time of camaraderie, or however you say that word, from what I can get from this. This is a good time to learn to work with other people. And just like with this one, maybe asking for help, just trying to get along and work with other people, trying to find a balance and meeting people in the middle, not stirring the pot, watching it before it boils over, but not having to be the only person to do that. How can I avoid getting stuck again in the future? So we have the Queen of Wands. A lot of Wands energy. So a lot of movement, action, fire energy with this one. So the Queen of Wands is just very charismatic and very outgoing as far as the personality type. And like I said, these are not gender specific, so it could be any gender. So how can you avoid getting stuck again in the future? I would say for this card, just to start moving. We've got all this motion in here, a lot of motion, of movement, and these are the things that are making you stuck. Everything else is just movement, action, with other people involved. And I think right here is where it just kind of stops, is you're feeling like you're just not in a good position to act. But if you want to get unstuck, you really need to act. And I think whatever you decide to do or what you want to do with your time is going to be just fine. You really don't need to worry about these right here. And also another thing is, to work a little bit better with other people and try to find some common ground or, compromise in a sense. So that's what I get from that. And then your extra card that just kind of jumped out is the King of Swords, which for just maybe a little clarifier is maybe if you are going to act, just have a game plan. If you don't have all your stuff, you don't have everything you need, if you're not manifesting what you want, and if this is a good time to just act on what you want to do, just kind of sit down and have a little bit of a game plan. You don't have to really think. I mean, I do want you to think more on it, but, he's not sitting and relaxing. He's up and moving and actively planning out what he's going to do. So especially with the Queen of Wands of being a little more charismatic and just putting yourself out there, just have a little bit of a plan. And if you plan well, then you don't need all this stuff. And if you ask for help and work with people around you, I think that's going to help because you're in a better position than I think what you think you're in. And especially with this one, maybe like if you don't have everything, sometimes when I'm looking for something, I need something specific, like when I make that box, I kind of take all my stuff out and look at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so much stuff, but not exactly what I need. So just kind of take a moment and plan, and see what you are working with and how you can work with it better. Ask for help, compromise. So that's kind of what I'm getting from that. So, and then just for some extra advice, we will pull an oracle and see what kind of advice we get from that for you. And we've got time to go. So this one is kind of talking about whatever project or anything you're working on, it's kind of reached an end and you need to do something else. And I think that could also mean, you know, just like with reevaluating, or maybe these situations right here or your state of mind, you need to let that go. I could really see this in a bunch of different ways, especially with these relationships you have with other people. Just your state of mind on that, you need to let that go and kind of open up to a different way of approaching things, new perspective, because how you're viewing your stance and your situation, how you're starting your projects, what you think you have, and your planning, whatever is going on, you just kind of need to recycle that. Take a moment, and it does kind of talk about, you know, even if you have to go in a transition period, go ahead and take that small period and kind of just reevaluate everything that's going on. And, you know, for a lot of us, and that's not even a prediction or anything, it's a really weird time. So I think this could really make sense to a lot of people right now, too. And if it doesn't, if none of these resonate with you, that's fine. You could either pick a different deck, or maybe this just isn't a reading for you. So that's kind of what I get from that. This is a whole rinse, repeat, or rinse and get some new soap, because your old one is just not cutting it. And you know, you're just kind of in a different position and have different things than what I think you thought you did. And that's not bad. You know, this is all kind of a good thing. You know, you're doing better than you think. You just need to really actually use the things that you have. You know, you think you're just lacking. You think you're having to do it all by yourself, and you really have more than what you think. So just that state of mind, you need to kind of let go and reevaluate where you're at. And this one might be longer than the last one. I just love this deck. This is such an easy read for me. So if that was your pile, that reading's for you, and hopefully it helped, and thanks for watching. Okay, and if you picked the Radiant Rider-Waite and this door, then this reading is for you. So let's see if we can't find some answers to these questions for you. I know, I shuffle and I'm just going to lay them out anyway, but I have to shuffle. Makes me feel better. Excuse me. Okay, so number one, what is causing this rut? Why do I feel so stuck? What can I release to help me get unstuck? What can I embrace to help me out of this rut? What is this rut trying to teach me? How can I avoid getting stuck in the future? Okay. Sorry. So what is causing this rut? We have judgment. Why do I feel so stuck? We have the Ace of Cups. What can I release to help me get unstuck? We have the King of Swords. This has been pretty prominent in almost all these readings. What can I embrace to help me out of this rut? Eight of Wands. What is this red trying to teach me? Five of Wands. How can I avoid getting stuck again in the future? We have the Queen of Wands. I've had so many repeating cards. Judgment is new. But this is so weird. Oops. Okay. So what is causing this ret? So what I can get from this, I guess if I read it more, and it's kind of reverse state, which, or its shadow state, is that that time of redemption is just not here yet. And you see all these families together, finally, after being entombed, or is that a word? I don't know. So what is causing this ret is just kind of that good news, that state of resurrection just isn't here yet, I would think. So why do I feel so stuck? So I think with this one is, I would say for this is just, you're just not taking on new opportunities, new creative opportunities. You're not trying different things out right now, is what I can gather from that for right now. So what can I release to help me get unstuck? So maybe you're just an overthinker, you're in your head, you're trying to plan things out to the T, and it's just, I think you just need to release that right now. This is just not a time for you to sit and plan and contemplate and be inside your head right now. So what can I embrace to help me out of this rut? So just get out there. I think along with this one, you need to get out of your head and do more action right now. I think that is something you should embrace. What is this rut trying to teach me? So I had this in another one, and I kind of get that, another reading, so I kind of get that same feeling of, this one is more, the other one was more physical. This one I feel like is more of a mental turmoil, and it could be with the planning state, is this type of instability, I think, is more in your head than it is in a physical stance, because of the King of Swords right here. So just like with this one, what is this trying to teach me? Is just to kind of stop being in your head so much and going back and forth and giving yourself a headache, I guess, for everything. You need more motion and more creative outlets, I think, to kind of give you that redemption aha moment that you're looking for. And then how can I avoid getting stuck in the future? So, and again, I think I had this in another reading, is the Queen of Wands, the charismatic action, getting out there and doing things, socializing, which obviously socialize with caution at this point. But I think we need to move away from the mental part, the mental mental instability, not mental instability, but the back and forth that's going on in your head. It is what is kind of keeping you, locked away. You just need to embrace more creative outlets. You need to take on new opportunities, maybe start that project that you kind of thought you wanted to start, or even look for a brand new project. I think getting out of your head, finding something to get out of your own head right now, out of the mental turmoil that's kind of going right now, would be great. So just more action, more socializing. It's kind of what I see from that right now. So we got a lot of wands here. So I think just more fire, more passion, more action, and just a little bit less of the mental plan, the planning, the having everything be calculated. You just don't really need that right now for this situation. You just need more more action and maybe reaching out to other people, maybe organize something something a little more creative to kind of get this moment, this relief and resurrection and redemption and rebirth. That's what I can get from that. And like with the Eight of Wands is a action right now, so which is why it kind of releasing that sitting and planning. So maybe you're just somebody who kind of just sits, oh, a minute, maybe that's where the turmoil is coming from. Like you sit, I'm going to do this. Oh no, I could do that. Well, maybe I'll do this. And then you plan it all out and kind of stop. And then you've really gotten absolutely nowhere, which that's understandable. So with the Eight of Wands, of what you need to embrace to help you out of this rut is just the action, the decision right now. I think you need to kind of narrow it down to something, obviously, maybe something a little more creative, a little more emotional, maybe something like that, or working with your hands. I don't know. I don't really see this as a time for have-to projects. If you're in a rut, maybe work on more social projects, more creative projects. And that could just at least be a start for you to get out of the rut. It may not be the end-all be-all, but it might be the steps, the steps you can take to get yourself out of there. So maybe, all these different projects you were thinking about, you pick one, you start on it right away. And I would recommend at least trying to finish it as much as possible. But I think that's not going to be your end result. I think that's just going to be the start, and it's going to completely catapult you clear to your aha moment, I guess. So that's what I can see from that. And we will pull an oracle card and see what kind of message or assistance or insight we can get from that to kind of help with this. I've been pulling pretty much the same card, so hopefully I get something new and exciting. Okay, we have exchanging gifts. So this card kind of talks about giving and receiving, and not so much as like actual gifts to other people, but for yourself. Putting in hard work and time and effort, the return will be rewarding. So that's kind of what that, and I just got this the oracle not that long ago, so I'm kind of referring back to the book. And I'll read this little section where it says, you're entering into a productive and enriching time when all manner of opportunities are being offered to you. You have everything you need to seize them. Yet in order to honor them, you must put in the time, exchange your experience and skills, and commit heart and soul to what you're choosing to pursue. So that kind of goes back to these two cards where you're kind of going back and forth and over planning. So you just kind of need to pick something and put your time and energy into it to, for one thing, stay focused on that one thing so you're not having this inner mental turmoil of all these different things. Just setting your sights and being specific and doing it right now, I think, will be the steps to the to this card. And see, she's come out of the box, and so these people finally kind of unveiling what you've been looking for. And this one was just a little bit shorter. I think it's pretty straightforward. If this resonates with you, let me know. And if it doesn't, then this reading, you can choose another card. Maybe this reading wasn't for you. And if you see something that I don't, because I don't read for people very often, let me know. That could be kind of fun. Otherwise, hopefully that helped you answer some questions, and thanks for watching.